guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are making magic. So my world that I have been developing, and I think I might make a comic for, has a really extensive magical system. And so I'm going to explain that a bit while also drawing along with it some of the magics that I have developed already. So for starters, it's a very magical world. Okay, and magic comes from three places. It comes from magical creatures, spirits, and life force. Okay, and I have multiple characters that fit in. Well, I have multiple characters kind of developed already, / in the works, that each, and I have one for each category, really. So, well, I didn't write creatures there. So magical creatures is one of them. So magical creatures, they're from the spirit world, and the spirit world / magical realm is parallel to our own. So think of it like, here is like Earth, because that's an Earth-like country place is what I'm thinking of. Not exactly the same. Think of it as if you're looking down on it. The spirit world, magical creature world, kind of sits on top of it, looking down. So it'd look here. So this would be like the earthly realm. If I spell something wrong, which I'm pretty sure that's spelled wrong, don't judge me. I'm a shit speller. Always have been, always will be. And then this would be like the spirit realm. Okay? And they're kind of the only thing, there's not like a bridge or anything that people can cross, but spirits / magical creatures can cross into the earthly realm because, you know, they're not human, they're magical. They can control lots of different things. So in this world that I've created, the spirits no longer really come into the earthly realm. Magic is a lot more rare, but there are still people who do magic. So people who get their powers from magical creatures, they have to make connections. And like with these magical creatures, they have to either know them personally or their family knows them personally. And this can be a specific creature in general, you know, like say a dragon with a name. Can't think of any dragon names for, this is all new yet. Or it needs to be, or like it can be like a group, like from dragons, period, like a power from a dragon. So you need to make connections with these creatures, or it needs to be gifted to you / make connections and gifted to you, or it can be loaned to you, these magical powers. Spirits, on the other hand, spirits are, I know it's called the spirit world. I don't have names for everything yet. Spirits are specifically creatures / people who have passed on. They are dead, and they are somewhere between something. Up here is where people would go when they die. And they can kind of pass through all of this. So spirits have their own kind of magical powers / information knowledge. So magic coming from spirits specifically, you know, this would be like magic heavily focused on your ancestors' experiences. That has to be gifted from the spirit themselves, passed on, say through, you know, your family line, or it can be forcibly taken by, you know, creating some, like virtually by killing somebody and harnessing their spirit. Life force is a pretty common one. This is one for people who don't know magical creatures or whatever. This kind of magic is made and it can be taken. So this would be using what keeps you alive right now and turning it into magic. So the characters we are going to be talking about today, not all of them have names, but fitting here under the magical creatures would be the main character, Nathan, his parents, and this girl character that I don't have a name for yet. Then Spirit is my character Alexander, and Life Force is the other main character, Angel. So I'm going to show you a bit what I have of these characters first, like what I've come up with, and we will go from there. For starters, we've got Angel. So this is Angel. I have drawn him in different clothes here, and I've already sketched out a bit of what his magic would look like. So this is him again, him again. His magic is from his life force. So he creates this, he can only make so much at a time. If you use too much, it actually starts taking years off your life and makes you tired, and it could literally kill you if you use too much. And this is like his pure magic. What he does is he crystallizes it, puts it in storage, keeps it on him, and then he can either crush it to like release magic to be harnessed into something, you know, like you can crush it and that powder, like you then, you know, manipulate it into something, or it can be used to enchant something. So that is an example of the life force energy or magic. So next we've got, this is, wow. Yeah, she falls under the magical creatures bit. I didn't even write her in there. So this is a character, she's got no name yet. And she uses deity magic, so that would be an example of, let me write her in here quick. So she's a high priestess. Wow, Harry Potter hair. High priestess. And this would be, you know, making connections, and her power is loaned to her for as long as she is a high priestess of this deity. So that's what she looks like, and that is an example of her magic. Quick little tidbit. This is the goddess that she is a high priestess for. This is, I haven't drawn a full body of his dad yet, but this is Nathan's mom and his dad, and they also use the magical creatures magic. Their magic was gifted to them, you know, they made connections with these magical creatures. They're one of the few people who were able to do so. This here is another example of that. This is, I think I'm gonna have her be either from like a same tribe or like neighboring, well, that's not the word I'm looking for, like the same village or neighboring village that my character Nathan was. If you want to hear more about that tragedy that happened with him, a few videos back, I talk all about him and his backstory, and there's a little snippet of her as well. She's got the same power as him. Okay, and here is Nathan. So this was me deciding what I wanted his wings to look like. So this is what it kind of looks like when he's using his power. And his is the same as his parents. It's kind of where specifically making a connection with a magical creature, and it gives you kind of the ability to use magic associated with them and or grow something or transform a bit into that creature. So his is a dragon, his mom's is a jellyfish. So if you saw, she had like a little electrical figures. It was like kind of, you know, like jellyfish like can sting you. So it's kind of a play on that. And his dad's is like a hawk of some kind. And then the girl's was like an eagle. And the last example is Alexander. I don't have any works recently of him, but I will include some images of him. His magic, I have decided, is he is a healer, and because of that, his magic is a bit combination of these. So he uses his own life force to heal people, but that knowledge has been passed down from his ancestors. So his mom was a healer, his grandmother was a healer, his great-great-grandfather was a healer, you know, like all of that knowledge has been passed down through generations, and he kind of has a gift for speaking to the deceased. So it's really cool. So I am going to get sketching a bit about, we're gonna start with Alexander because I've drawn Nathan many times and Angel as well. So we're gonna work on some of the people who I haven't developed. So let's get started. So Alexander is my oldest character. I put him late 30s, early 40s. It would be Nathan's parents, they would be about the same age, but unfortunately they have passed on, as with everybody's, every tragic main character's parents. So Alexander he's a healer, and I have, like, in this, my world, magic is not something that's commonly used anymore. Because of this group of people who decided they didn't like being at the whim of magical creatures, because magic, besides your own life force magic, was heavily based on building connections and, you know, loving magical creatures. And they deem you worthy of receiving their magic. And they didn't like that. They didn't think they had to bow to these creatures. They were like, they come over into our world and make us grovel for magic from them. And they didn't like that. So they started taking it from people, from creatures. And that is when the High Council of the magical creatures in the spirit world decided, yeah, fuck that. We're not letting that happen anymore. And most magical creatures pulled back. So there's not that many there anymore. So people like Alexander, he's just known as a doctor. People don't quite know exactly how he heals people. And everybody else, the other characters, have to hide their magic. So I'm gonna go hunt down a reference quick so I can make sure I'm drawing him how I pictured him. Okay, so he has longer hair. In my original, like my very, very long time ago drawing of Alexander, he was like really long hair. I might have a picture of him quick here. Yeah, this was what he looked like a long time ago. I have no clue what that was. But this is the more updated image I'm looking at, which, yikes. I have really come a long way. So I hope the proportions are looking okay. I'm looking at it from quite an angle, so want to make sure that proportions are looking all right, at least. He looks dead inside. I mean, he just might be, but... So these are all just sketches. I'm literally just kind of going with the flow here, so I don't even know if I'll end up coloring some of these. I hope to. I will be using some color, but not sure what. So I do like the idea. I did have him in like a sweater before. I did kind of like that, but I'd wanted a little more like long, kind of like frumpy almost, maybe rolled up. It's a little oversized almost. Then sometimes when I have trouble picturing things, I gotta go in and erase a bit. And then he can just be in a t-shirt. I gotta stay pretty comfy. Draw in some lines, give it a little texture since it's a sweater. And now, yeah, I'm terrible at drawing feet from the front. I've gotten much better at drawing feet from the side, but from the front, especially when I'm not using a reference and I'm just winging it, like, she bad, honey, she bad. Goodness. So pants, I don't know. Not feeling like the cargo short. That looks kind of gross. Maybe he'll be a little hipster, or maybe he'll wear leggings. I've seen men in leggings. I feel like then he'd look a little too, like, dressed like a teenage girl. Since he is one of my dudes with longer hair, that might not quite look great. I think we'll just give him maybe some cuffed jeans. Bitch don't know how to wear clothes. He cuffs everything. He doesn't buy anything in the right size. Ain't nobody got time for that. Except for me, because clothes are never too big on me. They're always too small, so I've got to make sure they fit. So, and I'm trying to keep some of these designs a little simple because he's not a super main character. And I want to make sure that if I do choose to do a comic, which the more I develop this stuff, the more I feel like I should, I need to keep him fairly simple. So I think that looks good. He'd just be in some loose fitting jeans. I like that. Maybe have some bracelet or something. And I think that's my rough sketch of what Alexander would look like. So I'm gonna do a bit like this, where it kind of tells you what his magic looks like. So Alexander's magic. So Alexander's magic is ancestral. Gotta look up how to spell that quick. So his comes from the spirit of his dead relatives. Those are so cute. Dead relatives. and he can speak to them. So he can speak to them, I feel like would be, pull in maybe some modern day witch practices, which, well, I say modern day, but obviously they're old as sin. So you can kind of gaze at them through crystal balls. We're gonna do a silhouette here. He can speak to them through meditation, crystal balls, meditation, tarot cards, candles. I'm trying to think something else. Oh, and let's do where he can also, I don't know how to draw that, so we're gonna do, and possession. So in rare cases, an ancestor who is maybe particularly good at something that Alexander is trying to do, like let's pretend he's got an emergency surgery he's trying to perform. Now he's not a real doctor who actually went to school to be a doctor. He is just a magician, really. He does magic. So he's trying to do this and he's getting stressed out. He doesn't exactly know what he's doing. But let's pretend a relative hundreds of years ago, fantastic surgeon, can possess his body to also, to do that surgery for him. And then he can take his body back over. So that is how he, gains a lot of knowledge. So he's very, very knowledgeable. His other magic is life force. So we take him. So we'd take his life force / his energy. So that is how you can do temporary, shorter term magic / magic you use consistently would just come from your energy. And that, so, it'd make him tired, lethargic, he'd need to sleep and eat, and he would be fine. But if he needs to do something more, pressing right now, very powerful, he'd use his own life force. And if he uses too much of that, it can actually shorten his life. If he uses his life force, it just is it's a deeper tiredness, one that doesn't just miraculously go away. So it'd probably be something that, feels a little more closer to like a depression. So people try not to use straight life force as often. So he would turn his life force into pure magic, which for, drawing purposes looks something, kind of like a dust, think like pixie dust / a ball of light. I always put little sparkles around magic to, kind of make it seem as magic. So this would be pure magic. Now, if he's creating this on the go, he would just take that pure magic and he would use it to heal. Somebody gets hurt instantaneously, he needs to heal. He creates pure magic, puts it right into them to have the magic heal. Now, a lot of times what life force / energy users do is they will take their life force and they will crystallize it. And then they can save it for later, you know, so that way, you know, every day they can make a few crystals of magic, put it away, take a nap, they're fine, and they have magic built up. That's usually what he does. And now he can take that crystal and either go straight to healing, or he can, he has to crush it in between there. Crush it to healing, you know, kind of have to destroy it, or he can enchant something. So for my character Angel here, you know, we've got jewelry. His magic is a lot more weaponized. That's his specialty. So that would be like, you know, these earrings, say if he enchanted it into earrings, it would be like protective. It would help him be more secretive, sneaky, kind of all things that would have to do with more battle, you know, make weapons, help his aim, turn it into a bomb, make it explode, start fires, that kind of stuff. And since Alexander is a healer, he would use them to enchant like jewelry, and the jewelry would specifically be for energy. So we'll write enchant things. You know, so his would have all of the things he would enchant would all have something to do with health and healing. So that is Alexander's magic here. Next, we are going to dive into a character who I haven't named yet. I don't know what to call her, but we're gonna call her High Priestess just for reference. So I'm gonna get to sketching her. So in the story, the High Priestess, she isn't a main character. She's definitely a character who the characters will run into at some point in time on their journey to when they need help. So she stays at kind of a convent-like. The goddess she worships is definitely more of a female. She's a female goddess, and she's kind of picky and really only likes women. So it's like a convent with nuns kind of thing, and they don't have to, you know, not like stay celibate or anything. Even the priestess doesn't have to, but they are expected to devote time in their day to their goddess. And her magic was gifted to her as long as she serves her goddess's purposes, which is to, you know, spread like peace. The goddess she worships is actually a war goddess, which peace might not seem like what a war goddess wants, but war is never anything that people actually want. So her job is to do what she can to stop war and to create peace. So for her character story, she has just been in this convent for many years because that's what her goddess asked of her. She has been teaching the teachings of her goddess. She has been training women in the art of combat. That's kind of what she's been doing for the time being. She wears pretty, this character is based off of kind of what I would want to be like if I lived in a magical world. So she kind of dresses a little weird, you know, kind of the pirate shirt, which is like my favorite thing. And so she just does what she's told. It's kind of, she hasn't really seen any battle. She's trained for it for many, many years, and that's about it. And so these characters come along, and her goddess tells her it's time to serve her purpose, really. And so she's pretty excited to go on this journey with them. And she is very strong. Her magic is based off of a deity, so she doesn't quite get tired like the other characters do. And so I like it, a little OP, it's all right. And yeah, I haven't really developed her much beyond that. Beyond the fact that she's temporary and, well, she's kind of a badass. So I'm guessing at some point she stays behind on their journey to spread more awareness of her goddess and peace. Because that's the thing. There are hundreds of gods and goddesses all the time, constantly. There are a few big ones, such as the one that she worships. And then, other than that, you know, I love, what I love about this magical world that I've created is that there is so much that at any given moment, I can create a new magic, and it just feels endless. I love it. So this is my High Priestess, and her magic is what I call deity magic. So deity magic is a form of the magical creature's magic, because deities are not from the earthly realm. They are from the spirit realm. And so, yeah, so that's what it is. So her magic comes from her goddess. Do a quick sketch of her goddess. There. Her goddess does not have a name yet, unfortunately. So anyway, so her magic comes straight from the goddess. So it's pretty powerful, long lasting. The only thing is you can only use it for a short time of your life, because it does wreak a little havoc on your body, because it's not magic intended for a human being. It's magic intended for a goddess. And the gods and goddesses used to roam the earth freely back when there was, you know, the spirit world came down into the earthly realm. But unfortunately, they left. And even then, there was still High Priestess and Priestesses, because a lot of times the gods couldn't be bothered with the little minute things of, you know, humanity. So, and that goes straight to her. So, it comes through her, and then she uses it for really anything. Unlike the life force magic, it can't be stored, so she can't store it for when she's no longer High Priestess and doesn't have the powers. She just has to use it while she can. And this magic can be, she can create weapons, she can destroy things, she can blow things up. It's mostly centered though around anything to do with peace/war. So weapons, she can do a bit of healing, you know, like battlefield stuff. So yeah, and peace, she is very gifted with like diplomacy kind of thing, which wasn't normally a part of her personality, but is something gifted to her from the goddess. So that is a bit of her magic as well. I think as a fun little thing, I want to sketch them together. So we're gonna try that. I've never done that before. We're gonna sharpen this pencil because I'm gonna start in pink, so it'll be easier to distinguish, to add in details over top of it, so it's not just one big sketchy mess. I'm gonna start with Nathan in the middle. We'll put Angel here. We'll put Alexander here. And then the High Priestess here. And then, unfortunately, we do have 5 people, and so it's going to be a little uneven. And who knows, maybe we'll throw in some special things over there. But I'm going to quickly sketch this out off camera because that will take forever. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I've got everybody sketched out quick. And now I'm going to add some clothes, and then we're going to add a little color to this. So Nathan's outfit has stayed the same for quite a long time. He wears, I have changed fit of it a bit. He wears this cropped jacket, his scarf that he got from his mother, and high-waisted jeans and a t-shirt. His jeans are either cropped or cuffed, and they have holes in them. I chose cropped jeans today, and he wears big, bulky tennis shoes. Next, we've got Angel. Angel keeps things pretty simple. He wears a baseball tee tucked into some high-waisted dark wash jeans. They are skinny jeans. I haven't ever yet picked out what color or what kind of shoe he wears. So I got to think about that for a sec. But his jeans usually have holes in them as well. Maybe Converse-like shoes. Then Alexander, as we decided, he wore a chunky sweater and a plain t-shirt and rolled up jeans. This girl over here, who I haven't decided a name yet, she wears this leotard-like thing that's high cut and low riding sweatpants that bunch at the bottom, and then a chunky sneaker as well. Then the Priestess, she wore the collared shirt that had the tie on it and the ruffles, and the pirate shirt with these kind of like dress pants. Okay, let's throw on some color. So Nathan is pretty pale. The wing girl over here, she is pretty tan. Her over here, I also had her pretty tan as well. Now I'm already seeing a problem. I don't have a lot of diversity amongst my main characters. I mean, obviously there's lots and lots of side characters left, but diversity is important to me. Alexander is a very old character, and I haven't used him much. So I think I'm going to make Alexander a darker skin tone than I originally drew him all those years ago. Unfortunately, I don't have super dark skin tone colors, at least none that I can do this with. It takes a lot of blending to get some darker colors, and I don't have the paper for that right now. And this is, kind of a simply done drawing, so. But he may be even darker in the future. Alexander. Because, like I said, a lot of these characters, honestly, these two are ones I've just come up with. Her skin tone kind of just went with the color scheme, and she's kind of based off of me. So she has a little bit, you know, tanner. That's how I look in the summer, and I like that. But these other characters, they have been around for a very, very long time, and obviously 15-year-old Abby, you know, didn't really understand the importance of diversity. So I may have to go back to make sure that I'm being diverse in my characters, because I just never want, you know, if this becomes something that I put out there into the world in comic form, I would really, really hate for people to not be able to see themselves in a character. So I want to make sure that from here on out that my characters, you know, are diversified. I do apparently have an aversion to natural colored hair. I am seeing that. I look so weird since I'm doing kind of a lineless look right now. Oh, wow, 2 fairly normal hair colors, that's it. So I'm trying to keep it pretty simple. I don't want to do too detailed shading or details or anything. I just want it nice and simple, kind of enough to get the gist without diving too deeply. That I haven't put a piece of paper underneath it yet, this page, so I don't want to have too much blending going on. Got a bit going on here, but that's about it. Okay, now what's left is white. So we're gonna go ahead and add some shadows to it. Because even though I wasn't doing too much for shading, I want the white to still, you know, seem white. Her eyes, are a teal color. His eyes, I think I want to make them like this bright orange. Nathan's eyes are green. His eyes, they are brown. And her eyes are a very light blue. Oh, that's a ghost. That blue's dead. I'm gonna make them this bright blue. Wow. Okay, time to color in the top of their lips. Well, actually, let's color in this ghost. Okay, I'm going to put a little ink on their eyes. I'm gonna do that off screen because filming it makes me nervous. Okay, so I'm just gonna add, I've got this Tuscan red Col-Erase pencil that I'm just going to go in and add some line art to some of these guys where you can't kind of, in the places where you have trouble seeing what's going on. And now these characters will appear different, you know, for a bit. I'm still working on their designs. I'm still working on their stories. So these are not them finalized. This is just where at this moment, this is how I picture them. Okay, and for the final touch, I'm gonna pop on some white highlights. And then the gang's done. All right, there's the gang. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and here are the finished pieces.